everybody. Welcome to the 16th episode of YLC Chats. Today we have another exciting episode with Connie Mehlman from Hamilton, Ohio. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Margot, do you want to ask Connie the first questions?
How did you become involved in Best Buddies?
Well, a long time ago in 2003, a student from Miami University, which is located in Oxford, Ohio, called me and said, somebody gave me your name and said that you'd be the right person to join with me to start a chapter at Miami. And she was a student there at Miami. So we just started working together on bringing the Best Buddies into Miami University. So that's kind of how I got pulled into everything. And the great thing about it, that student who helped me start in 2003, her name's Ashley Johnson. She's now a professor there at Miami, and she's our advisor there on campus. So it kind of came full circle. So that's kind of how I got brought into the fold of Best Buddies.
What is your current role or roles within Best Buddies?
Well, I have several. I'm still working with the chapter at Miami. So this is, this is 2021. So I've been the host site coordinator there for 18 years, which means I work for a county agency called Butler County Board of DD, and I help find the individuals who we want to match with the students. So I've been involved in that role. I was on the expansion board for Best Buddies Ohio because we didn't have a state office. So in 2014, I was like in the grassroots effort of building that, getting on that board, making all the money happen with the 6 or other 8 members. And then this year, somehow I've grown into the chairpersons of Best Buddies Ohio. So I've got several irons in the fire for Best Buddies. And then I also am matched in Best Buddies Citizens with my match, Amanda. So several different ways I'm involved. I guess I'm just, loving Best Buddies and everything that they do. So
sounds like you have a Best Buddies jack of all trades, and I think that's a great person. Connie, my next question for you is, what is your favorite thing about Best Buddies?
I would say there's a few things. I love when we have our first meeting and people make their new friendship. So seeing the new friendships being formed and all the excitement in the chapter. Secondly, on the other side of that, I love seeing the long-lasting friendships that take place through Best Buddies. I still stay in touch with many members. They volunteer on activities that we have currently in the state of Ohio, and they're in our walk. But I love when our buddies get to stay connected. For example, one of my buddies, she has stayed connected with, she was my very first match I made at Miami. It was Stephanie and Jody. And 4 years ago, Jody and I went to Stephanie's wedding up in Boston, and they still stay connected. And Stephanie also worked for Best Buddies for a short period of time. And I think my final one, I could go on forever, but my third one probably is, I love seeing the change in the students. A lot of times I think when people come to Best Buddies, they're not for sure why they're joining or, what's in it for them, but I think maybe they're doing, a good service, but I think all in all, they learn that they benefit so greatly from being a part of Best Buddies. And what they take away of their college experience is to feel more comfortable around people with disabilities. We've got 2 students currently that work for Best Buddies International from Miami. So to see the broad impact just that one chapter can make on different people's lives.
Why do you think the Best Buddies mission is so important?
Well, I think when you look at the Best Buddies mission and the 4 pillars that it represents, we have friendship, employment, inclusive living, and leadership. Those are 4 things in life that I think a lot of people take for granted. And being in the field a long time ago, a lot of those options weren't available to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So watching the mission grow over the years and changing, I just think it's a great message to get out there to let everybody know that everybody deserves to have an equal opportunity to make friends or live in a place that they want to live in, or maybe find the job of their dreams. And I love the leadership aspect as well, because not only through ambassador trainings and being involved in Best Buddies, it also helps people with their self-advocacy, just in the world in general, or maybe in a workplace, or maybe when they're trying to make a change, in their state. So I just think it's a great mission, and it's all inclusive, and it works for everybody.
So my first question for you is, what are some changes you would like to see in our country in regards to inclusion?
Well, that's a big question. If you think about, as a country, I guess one thing I would like to see change is that people, all in all, understand that making change happens one person at a time. Sometimes it can't just be an overall big march, but just teaching one person at a time, the importance of inclusion. The other thing I would like to see, I don't know if as a law or mandated, a lot of times when I talk to, friends that I have that have gone through a new diversity training, maybe within their employment setting, a lot of times they're still not including educating people about people who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. I don't know why that's happening at my local level where I live. I had to go, fight with our city, not fight, but talk to our city council about getting a seat at the table when they were trying to work on diversity within our community. And a lot of people never even thought about including the population of people that Best Buddies is, serving and that their mission involves. So I think just some more general awareness.
So how have you stayed connected with the Best Buddies community in your state during COVID?
Well, I'm sure with everybody else, it was a challenge in the beginning. I know last year when we kind of had to shut it all down in March, we're about at that 1 year anniversary. It was really hard to stay in touch and explain to people why we couldn't continue with our programming and have our end of the year celebration. So I got together with some of the students and we just came up with some different ideas. Of course, we've all learned about being on Zoom like we are tonight. I like this medium of getting together, but I still prefer being in person. I miss hugging everybody. So we've stayed in touch through Zoom, and that was a challenge because we had a lot of people who didn't understand the concept, or I deal with a lot of elderly parents who had no idea what Zoom was. And so we kind of worked our way through and, trial and error. We also re-enter like a pen pal program. A lot of people have gotten out of the habit of writing letters. So we worked on packets, and our students had packets and stamps that they could send out and stay in touch with not only their match or other people in the program. Our exec board sent out holiday wishes to everybody because I think people were feeling disconnected, and we did the best that we could. Our chapter still stayed at a big level. We still had 90 matches this year, and we have 300 people participating. But it was just kind of going with the flow, working on things. Me personally, with my match, when she was comfortable meeting in person, we would meet outside on a warm day on a patio, and we would sit we were more than 6 feet apart, but we would just make do. And I would bring like a little cooler, and her favorite beer is Blue Moon. And we would share a beer, but be socially distant. And we just did the best that we could to stay in connection. And I think we did a good job too at working on solving issues. I think people were better about reaching out and telling us problems that they were having connecting this year. But overall, we survived, but we're looking forward to having our first in-person event.
What are your future goals in terms of Best Buddies and creating more opportunities for people with disabilities in your community?
Well, earlier I mentioned that I'm the new chairperson for Best Buddies Ohio. One thing, my goal, when I took on this role, I take it seriously. I don't just serve on a board to have it on my resume. If I'm going to, take a role on, I put my whole heart and soul into it. And I still feel that in Ohio, since we're kind of new as far as having a state office, people don't recognize the Best Buddies logo like they should. Like when you drive by a store that has the big red dot on it, we all know it's Target, correct? Well, one of my goals in the next 3 years is when people in Ohio see the Best Buddies logo, they know what Best Buddies is. They're educated on the need for friendship and inclusion. So I think that's one way that we will grow. I see that shirt there. Awesome, Margot. I think that's one way that we will grow programming in our state and awareness. I mean, I want to make more friendship matches, but I also want to raise more awareness just so people realize what's going on. And during COVID, when we were talking about what we did during COVID, one thing that it brought to light for me and why I picked this goal was all the years that I've been involved in Best Buddies, I did not know what it was like to be socially isolated until COVID hit. And I was put into the same, in my house. I couldn't have an option of going to the store sometimes when you wanted to, going to work, going to dinner, going where you wanted and visiting people. So I kind of learned firsthand what social isolation was all about. So I'm reminding people too that We've all been experiencing it, and why should anybody have to experience a life full of social isolation? So that's kind of my goal.
Thank you so much, Connie. I loved hearing about all you had to say, and Best Buddies Ohio is definitely very lucky to have you. So we'll be linking Connie's school chapter that she works with, their social media, and Best Buddies Ohio social media down below, so you can go follow them. This has been the 16th episode of YLC Chats, so make sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos coming soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for having me.